I've got an Xbox 360 emulator running natively on a Nintendo Switch Lite, playable frame rates, native ARM64 binary, no whine, no translation layers, nothing in between, just xenia-edge running natively on the Nintendo Switch because apparently that's a thing you can do now. And if you've been watching this channel, you know exactly which game I had to load up the second this thing works, so let's get into it. Real quick, if you're new here, hey, I'm Coulter. On this channel we cover console mods, janky DIY builds, retro tech, and generally making hardware do more than it was supposed to, as is clearly evidenced. So if that sounds like you, be sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss future videos. So this whole thing started like a lot of my projects start lately, which was scrolling Twitter, and I came across a video by fellow YouTuber Macy's for Fun, where they showed off that they were able to get Xenia running natively on the Nintendo Switch, and I was like, hold up, you can run 360 games on the Switch? Tell me more. And their claim definitely came with some footnotes, like recommending older titles like Call of Duty Classic and all that because they don't use as many Vulkan plugins. But I was like, warnings be darned, let's try this thing out. So a quick breakdown so we're all on the same page. So regular Xenia, the Xbox 360 emulator that most of you have probably heard of, is Windows only. No Linux, no Mac, and that's always been the case, which is fine if you're running on a gaming PC, because most people are. But Xenia-edge is a community fork, and the entire point of it is cross-platform support, faster iteration, and a better Vulkan backend. And so it ships for Windows as well as Linux and macOS. And crucially, that macOS list includes ARM64, which, if you don't know, the Switch is ARM-based, which is a very different beast when it comes to Linux compatibility. Most of you probably have tried Linux on x86 hardware. Linux on ARM is still rapidly evolving. And so although there's no ARM64 Linux download link on the Xenia-edge GitHub page, technically all you have to do is pull down the code and tell it to build for ARM64. Like, that option is right next to the other ones that are already in use.
It's right next to it.
So it should be that easy, right? Well, as is classic in the Coulter Peterson channel, it was not quite that simple, but we did get it working. So if some of you were thinking, oh cool, you just ran the Linux x86 version through Box64, no, we got this thing to natively compile on and for the Switch. So to do that, like I said, I started off with the simple steps of pull down the code from GitHub, ran the commands from the documentation to get the build environment set up. Now, that was the easy part. The hard part was over the next 3 hours, where it was a lot of commands run and it gets pretty far, and then, halt, I'm missing a package. Okay, install that package, rerun it, let it go through all again. Halt, I'm missing a package. Okay, and round and round we went. So I'll save you all of that headache and won't get into all the nerdy commands I use to make that work. You know, if you've Linux images before, you probably know what I went through. And if you haven't, have no interest in that, you really wouldn't be interested in me talking about it. So to save you those 3 hours, I actually took it upon myself to write a pull request to the official Xenia-edge GitHub repo so that Linux ARM builds get added to their future automated releases, so that next time they push an update at all to Xenia-edge, a Linux ARM build should just be automatically included in their automated release pipeline. And if for some reason they don't approve that PR, it doesn't get merged in, I did attach an ARM64 binary to that PR, so I'll link both the PR and the main repo in the description, so that whether it made it into the official mainline or not, you should be able to get this just up and running on your Switch with a one-click install, instead of 3 hours of back and forth and lots of nonsense. And if you want to thank me for creating that PR so that we can get these ARM64 builds more easily, hey, wouldn't mind to subscribe down below. We're on the way to 100K subs, and I'd super appreciate the help. Now, before we get into testing this guy, big shout out to Lano for sponsoring this video. Whether you're running your games on a dockable Switch or on something like an AOIN Thor, even just simply want to mirror media from your smartphone to your TV without having to use AirPlay or something, that's where the Lano S9 Pro comes in. It is a wireless 4K HDMI transmitter and receiver that handle all that mirroring functionality for you with 0 cables. All you do is you plug this end into your device via USB-C, and it even has pass-through USB-C power, which is wonderful to see. And then you simply plug the other end into HDMI with the included delightfully stubby and high-quality HDMI cable, power him with USB-C since HDMI provides no power to devices, and then, at least in my case, they just instantly connect and find each other, and your device is often mirroring. No Wi-Fi needed, no app, no drivers. The S9 runs on its own dual-band 2.4 and 5.8 gigahertz connection, separate from your home network, with 100 meters of range. That's like 350 some odd feet, which is far more than I need to dock my AYN Thor on my TV while both using it as a controller at the same time. 0.2 second latency, and it can pass through charge at 60 watts to keep you playing or doing whatever you're doing. In my personal experience, the wireless strength is really good. I actually walked a ways away to kind of the other end of the floor I'm on, and then stood behind the fridge, and according to my wife, who was still standing by the TV, the connection was still perfectly strong. So your results may vary, but in my case, it worked great. Most of my wireless devices do not enjoy a fridge being in the middle of their connection, so good job, Lano, on that one. And there's a physical physical one-click disconnect button, which is always nice. We love cutoff buttons. The S9 Pro here does 4K at 30 Hz, and the standard S9 does 1080 at 60 Hz. Both of them are linked in the description, and thank you so much to Lano for sponsoring this video. So with xenia-edge compiled and running natively on the Switch, I started with some lighter 360 fare to get a baseline before throwing anything too ambitious at it, keeping the other YouTubers' recommendation in mind to stick with the older, more classic XBLA titles like Call of Duty Classic here. And pleasantly, it looks to be running at a pretty solid, around 30 to 40 FPS, which, let's just take a step back. This is an Xbox 360 game running on a Switch. Like, what? If it got anything higher than 2 FPS, that would be impressive, let alone at perfectly playable and completely enjoyable. Like, I wasn't running performance monitors on my 360 back in the day, but I'm pretty sure a good chunk of my library ran at 30 FPS, and back then we didn't really care. So seeing this bewildering performance, I was like, okay, it's time to run the game. And if you're a regular on this channel, you know what the game is I'm talking about. Oh man, I just lost the game. And I guess all of you just lost the game too. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say you lost the game, then someone in the comments let you know. But if you're a fan of this channel, you know that my favorite Xbox 360 game to test out is the tragically unreleased 007 GoldenEye remaster, codenamed Bean. And so I opened it and I waited on the screen. Big suspense. And then an opening title. Okay. Another opening title. Okay. And then a rare logo spinning at 60 FPS. And then the crosshairs going by at 60 FPS. And I was already very encouraged because this whole intro was running at 60 FPS. Now, if you're trying this at home and you're not seeing this at 60 FPS, very important to note that I am totally using the best overclock this thing has to offer in the Ubuntu L4T or whatever it's called install, being performance overclock all and fans are set to cool. Very important that you set those fans to cool if you're going to do any overclocking, because we don't want to cook our chip no matter how much cryonite I put on there when I installed this mod chip. But with those overclocks in place and at least the menus loading at 60 FPS, it's time to play a damn mission. Okay, got a cool 20 FPS here, 25, 24, 26. Needless to say, I was pretty pumped when this loaded in at a playable 24, 25 FPS on a Nintendo Switch. Like, what? Ignore the stupid stick drift there. That's not the emulator's fault. That's the fact that this Hall effect joystick I installed had some either mechanical failure or I didn't calibrate it right before I dumped the Bluetooth profile into Ubuntu. We're just gonna hold him right there. Keep him real steady. I would take this fella out. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh, it went so much better the first time I filmed this. By the way, filmed the whole second half of this video and realized I didn't hit record, which is super cool. That's okay. You're getting the best version of me, okay? And now's the part of the video where I forget that I have things I want to talk about. I'm just gonna play GoldenEye for a little while. It is ridiculous how playable this is. Like, we are running GoldenEye 007 with no wine translation or anything. It's just running natively on Ubuntu, an operating system the Switch was never meant to run, on a Tegra X1 chip, which is like a 10-year-old chip. Like, I know the Switch isn't 10 years old, but the Tegra X1 chip was already kind of old when the Switch came out because they had to have a profit margin and make the thing portable. Hello, friends. Oh my goodness, where did you come from, sir? Oh no, I have died. Now I can hear you typing in the comments, yo, Coulter, you know there's a recompilation project that recompiles the exact game you're playing right now for x86 specifically, so you can run the game without any emulator at all. And at that point, it is a super cool project, but that does not help me play that on the Switch. And I want to play weird stuff on the Switch because it just feels so wrong and right at the same time. Okay, now I have to expect like a bunch of comments just to be, yo, Coulter, just for the meme of it, like over and over and over in the comments. Guess we'll find out. But let me know in the comments if you're gonna try this for yourself, and especially if you end up using my ARM64 build that I shared in that PR. So I would love to know that that 3 hours of work benefited someone else other than me. And if you want to see more videos like this where I just push the Switch way beyond what it should be doing, especially doing the kind of Ubuntu-based stuff like this and cranking every drop out of the hardware we can, go ahead and leave a controller emoji in the comments so I know you want to see that kind of stuff. I think one video I'm debating is like testing out Steam on ARM on this particular modded Switch with all of its upgrades and everything. So let me know if you want to see that video. And if you enjoyed this, you'll probably also want to see the video where I got the full bad avatar exploit running on the 360, which is basically a soft mod with how seamless it runs outside of the actual soft mod that's apparently in development right now, which is super cool. So subscribe so you don't miss that video when it comes out. But otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.